Over the last 100 years, if you look at all the fights that environmentalists, quote unquote, as a whole, have taken on, an undeniable pattern begins to emerge. A fact that society has almost entirely ignored. And that is that they have been right virtually every single time. They were right about protecting old growth forests and the canopy ecosystems that sustain life there, and how important old growth forests are for so many different reasons. They were right about mycelium networks in the soils and forests, and science is only now beginning to appreciate that. They were right about industrial agriculture and pesticides, about PFAS, about volatile organic compounds coming from petrochemical plants. They were right about the dangers of leaking pipelines, about the health impacts of fracking, about the bleaching of coral reefs, the acidification of the ocean, and the collapsing of ecosystems and habitats. They've been right about greenhouse gases driving climate change. Again and again, they were dismissed. They were mocked as alarmists, as people who didn't have a grasp on how the real world worked, until the evidence piled up and the denial was no longer possible. Despite decades of propaganda from industry, politicians, and the media, environmentalists have consistently been more correct than their opponents. They've always been on the right side of history when it comes to the broad strokes. And I really think it's long past time that we as a society start taking that seriously. We need to start listening more carefully to what environmentalists are warning us about. As we think about the crisis and the choices ahead, we've got to learn from that.